This segment of Delmarva Life is brought to you by the Car Store's Auto World Service and Accessory Center.
Well, one of the responsibilities of having a vehicle is the maintenance.
And the change in weather should remind you to make sure your vehicle is working properly. I recently visited Auto World Service and Accessories in Salisbury to find out what particular areas you should be paying close attention to as we head into the cooler months.
Gone are the hot summer days. Right around the corner, the cold winter months. Is your vehicle ready to handle what Mother Nature will soon throw our way?
Always pay attention to your car, no matter what weather condition you're under, especially the extremes like the summer heat or the winter cold. You always want to pay attention to your car.
Brian Bishop works at Auto World Service and Accessories in Salisbury. He explains what people should be paying attention to this time of year and why. First, let's talk tires. Brian says you don't need to be putting a snow tire on your vehicle. As long as you have all-weather radial tires that are in good shape, you're fine. One way to tell, take a look at your tire treads.
Got to have tread to stop properly. And we in the past we talked about 2/32 will pass Maryland State inspection, and you can check that with a penny as far as the depth. As long if it touches to the top of his head, you're good. But in reality, for true stopping, you need about 4/32 to 5/32 of tire tread, and you can check that with a quarter to make sure you've got enough tread in your tires. But you want to be able to stop. That's essential.
And Brian says don't be surprised if you notice a change in your tire pressure.
You're also going to notice that you're probably going to see that tire pressure light come on more than you're expecting it to as it gets colder, because again, as the temperatures change, things change as far as expansion and contraction. So make sure you keep your tires properly inflated.
And those wiper blades we so often depend on, make sure they are working well and clearing your windshield properly. Looking under the hood is also very important. You'll want to have your mechanic check your belts and antifreeze levels. But Brian says it's imperative you have the right oil in your vehicle so your engine will work right on those cold mornings.
When you start up your engine, getting oil to those critical engine parts is instant, because remember, it's in the pan. It has to come up and has to travel to those parts. So if you're using the wrong type of oil, it may take a little bit longer to get up there, critical engine parts, which can cause damage and unnecessary premature wear. So using the proper weight, the proper synthetic blend, whatever the manufacturer calls for, is going to help your car last a whole lot longer.
Also, make sure your battery is in good shape.
Cold's not good for the battery. You'll see on a battery they say this battery is rated for cold cranking amps, because as it gets colder, it actually puts out less. So you want to make sure that it is where it needs to be.
Brian also adds there's something very important you should be checking when sitting inside your car.
Something you don't usually do in the summertime is check your heat. Make sure you've got heat in the vehicle and that the defrost is working properly, so you'll be able to clear your windshield in case it is a cold and frosty, snowy morning.
Finally, as hard as it may be, try to keep your gas tank as full as possible.
Don't let your tank get down below a quarter all the time and run empty all the time. Because you can actually get water vapor to form inside the gas tank, and if it gets cold enough, you can end up with water in the lines or even frozen fuel lines. So always keep the proper amount of gas in your car. That's essential.
Brian says at Auto World Service and Accessories, they'll go through a checklist to hit all the key areas when inspecting your vehicle, leaving you with peace of mind when you hit the road, no matter what the weather may be.
But definitely make it a point just to make sure that everything's in tip-top shape. It's like a physical for your personal self. When you go to the doctor, you make sure everything's working properly at least once a year, and here's a good chance to make sure that everything's working on the car.
As we just mentioned, you want to make sure your battery is in good condition to handle the cold weather. Some ways to tell if your battery may not be working properly. First, age. If it's more than 4 years old, it may start having problems. If you see any corrosion or staining on the battery itself, that's a bad sign. Also, you'll notice your car is having trouble starting, or your car lights are starting to dim. There may be an issue with the battery, and you should have it checked.
All things I need to do.
Exactly.
Well, still ahead on Delmarva Life, we're going to learn about one local team that's taking recreational softball to a whole new level. In fact, they are the best in the nation. We'll learn what it takes to become World Series champs.
And when it comes to sports, a big part of the big game is the big meal. But many times it comes with lots of fat and calories. We're in the kitchen with not one but two healthier alternatives. Delmarva Life will be right back.